Hello and welcome to my second video in the deconstructing an end of the year recap video into three parts. Today I want to talk about authenticity within content creation, more specifically within the alternative music scene. And alternative is such a wild uh, description of like to talk about because there's just so much to it. There's so many different genres that are fit under basically people that don't want to be labeled as a specific in a specific subculture. They'll call themselves alternative. For me, I feel like that best describes my taste, even though that it's like it's all over the place. We got like old stuff that was in the mainstream, I would call my taste, as well as the alternative scene, from punk rock to indie rock to metal to post-hardcore to other genres. Um, that being said, I want to talk more specifically about what happened last year, which was something that I don't want to I don't want to say that I predicted it, but a YouTuber that never sat right with me was Finn McKenty, the punk rock MBA. Originally, the one thing that I will say is, well, he did help me discover more music. I will say that in watching his content, I realized that I have an issue. And my main issue was that I was so hung up on getting fed new music to people that were like specific, like in a specific, like they had a specific way of thinking, and that's like business wise, mainstream bands. And then when I like stuff that wasn't mainstream, that was typically disregarded as bad or not as good by other creators that I followed. And that's coming to that realization, realizing that, well, why should I listen to these people? That is going to be another topic that's going to be coming up after this. But yeah, basically, um, watching his content, I believe he was the one that got me into one of my favorite bands, the Immediate Infliction, and like the one like metalcore video. The other thing too that I found helpful about his videos, but not necessarily like tip helpful in the sense of like, oh, I looked up a YouTube video to find this out. You know, not helpful in the sense of, oh wow, this is gonna change everything. No. The one thing that helped me out was to figure out what bands and what things fall under certain genres, because I had a bad time calling certain things the wrong things, and I'm so glad that I realized that I didn't say those things to the right or to the wrong people, because I would have been laughed at. I called Under Oath deathcore. Yeah, no, just no. Um, yeah, thinking back to his videos specifically, I understood, like, okay, like, is this considered emo? Is this considered this? Is this considered that? I found it helpful in that sense. And also then there were also other YouTubers that have another YouTuber that really helped me out was also Nate the Mate. He doesn't really post anything like what he used to post anymore, but he had some great stuff. And that was the shift where I realized, okay, I have two sides. I have like the millennial core as well as the revival scene within the 2010s. That was another thing that I will say that, yeah, you know, it was helpful in that sense, but at the same time, I like, after you watch those videos about, you know, figuring out about these things that you weren't around or you didn't know about when you were younger, it's then you start to realize, well, it's like, what is the point to his content? Like, he just kept putting more videos out and they just did not interest me. And then when he would put a video out talking about, you know, like the specific switch in my head that went off was like, oh, he's talking about this, so I want to click on this. And it's not exclusively him, it's anybody that's talking about something that I know not a lot of people know about, or so I thought at the time, that not a lot of people know about. I want to hear someone talk about something that I like, and typically it was the opposite. He would talk shit about something that I liked. And that's when I actually repeated this pattern with multiple creators, specifically Brad Tasted Music. But at the same time, that's when I also discovered that there's very specific personalities within these creators that Finn just did not possess. And it was everybody called him a poser. I don't like that word. It I didn't think about that at the time, but now knowing it now, like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Um, when you talk about the business stuff, and honestly though, I was interested in the business side of things. I was interested in the advertisement side of things, because that was something that I thought about in careers in the past, especially to like promote my music. But at the same time, like, I started questioning, like, why am I watching this? There's no point in watching this. He's either going to talk negatively about something I enjoy, or he's going to talk about something that I just don't care about. And my main issue with YouTube and YouTube music reviewing community in general is that a lot of people just don't talk about the stuff that I want talked about. And I know this is a huge thing for everybody. And when I watched, there was a video by Wyatt X, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he put out a very great video. I don't remember how long ago, it might have been 2 years ago, it might have been a year ago, that I heavily reflected on. And that's basically saying that, like, with all these people that have big communities talking about music, tend to mostly talk about new stuff. And when it came, like, with Brad Taste in music, when he would talk about basically stuff in the alternative culture, he had some opinions that is the same type of opinions as like Finn McKenty that I just didn't agree with. And I wanted to see more of that content from other people. A great example was the Cozy Representative. He's changing his content now, which I respect. And I'll also talk more about that after. And I started realizing that, and I even commented on this YX thing video. It was like, if no one's going to talk about the music I want to talk about, I might as well do it, because that's what he does, and that's what other creators do. There's when you have the passion to make something, and you have the passion to want to talk about something, even if you think that you're not going to do a good job with it, take that chance. Go for it. I did it once with favorite songs at the time. In high school was "I'll Take You Everywhere" by Penfold, a Midwest emo song that I feel like is just one of the best Midwest emo songs ever written. And I made a video about it, talking about it. And that also probably came from inspiration from like Nate the Mate at the time, and finding more creators that talk about those niches and that the type of music that you like is something that I feel like some people just should drop the need to like comment on those channels, because at the end of the day, like, even like a channel, I already forgot his name, but I'll put him here. When you have specific channels that are like focused around on like listening and reviewing albums that aren't even like people that are into like actually making music, like unlike Critical Reactions, which is another great reviewer when it comes to the music, especially with non-biases, in terms of they hear a guitar that sounds really good, they'll comment on the fact that that guitar sounds really good, instead of just listening to a metal song and just gushing over a specific part in this metal song. No, it's like they actually mention like, oh, this thing adds to this song. This thing adds to the lyrics and the atmosphere of this song. There are people that have that within them to talk about music like that. And if you are so passionate about music, and instead of watching creators wanting to talk about the music that you love, why don't you just make a video and talk about the music you love? And after thinking about that Wyatt video and my comment on that video, I realized, like, shit, I listened to a lot of great music last year that probably nobody knows a lot about, and I would love to go in depth and talk about these albums and stuff. The other thing that I want to talk about too is that copyright, it tends to be one of the biggest issues when it comes to talking and communicating a video on music in general, just because of copyright. There are some people that do really good jobs at skirting around it. I think the best thing to do is play like 9 seconds. I Copyright falls under 15 seconds of use of music. But if you don't want to get into fights with people, you might as well pick like 5 seconds, if not. When I made my top albums and top music of 2022, I actually, yeah, I used about 5 to 6 seconds worth of music, and I felt like that worked. That I didn't get, didn't the copyright ID system didn't hit, so. I would say that if you want to do that, maybe listen to some tips from other creators, as well as experiment with, even just like try uploading just a little bit of the song and see what gets copyrighted, in terms of, like, within a video, or like if you had like, if you upload a video, 6 seconds worth of a song gets copyrighted, then you maybe find out another part in the song to showcase. For me, I used to think that that used to be a vital aspect, and it seems that a lot of people tend to want that, but it's a double-edged sword at the end of the day. It's You could risk getting your video blocked in other countries. You could risk demonetization, which I don't care about. And even like I've learned from even like finding a CD and then uploading it to YouTube, and there's no means to listen to this music otherwise got copyrighted. You can still find that on my channel though. It's not blocked in any country. It's under the Mediterranean sky. It's a Canadian thing. Was it Canadian? Yeah, it was a Canadian artist. A phenomenal album. But yeah, I realized that will be a roadblock for some people that want to talk about that stuff. As like a inspiration for the content you want to make, definitely look at your favorite creators, because you don't if you're not if you're not satisfied with an idea, if you see that it works out for them, and that's not even a really great advice, because just because something works for someone doesn't mean it's going to work out for you. But I realized that, at the end of the day, I just keep doing what I want to keep doing. And if I'm satisfied with it, I mean, worst thing that can happen is my video gets blocked. But I still want to chase after that. With all the music that I listened to last year, there are various albums that I want to talk about, even, I guess, some music genres that I didn't really know about, that have so little plays and they so little like information on these albums, that I would like to cover in the future. Because like I said, I always want to talk about the music that I really like, but at the same time, my schedule tends to fluctuate into various forms of content, and that would be a project that I would definitely do if I'm not working on something big. Now, back to creators for a sec. Specifically, this year, one of my personal favorite creators, the Cozy Representative, who is someone that was kind of like a little, I mean, he was kind of like Finn McKenty, exclusively talking about the Warped Tour scene, and the genres vary, like a lot of MySpace stuff, Tac Attack, eras of, Panic at the Disco and stuff like that, and even some. He was the one that I wanted to find more information on the band The Academy Is, and I watched his video. It was great. It explained like this is what they did, and that's where they ended up, and it was very informative. He decided to move to pop music now, and I respect his want to cover the stuff that he wants on his channel and not staying under a niche, because he grew out of it. And as much as people, will miss it, as much as people will still want that content, yes, he will still he'll be putting out specific videos regarding Panic! At the Disco, Fall Out Boy, Paramore, but that's not to say that he's continuing to make the same videos as he once did. Well, not in in terms of topics wise. I respect him for that. For me, I like to make what I want to make at the time, and I don't really. And if something changes, something will change. I wanted to make this video, and if the change, if I waited too long, then I just probably wouldn't have made this video. The other thing that regarding everything else, like when it comes to music review channels, it's a double-edged sword. And I honestly, what is the point, man? Like, what is the point of watching someone review music? What is the point of reading articles on the best of this year, of whatever, if you're not into seeking out music? What is the point? Yeah, you can find some new music, of course. That's probably one of the main reasons why a lot of people tend to watch these channels. But then there's other things too. Like there's other means. Just going through Spotify. I know some people might be against Spotify. Other people might use other platforms. Like I still go on about this. I think 2021 was when I started listening to music outside of my comfort zone. I originally was into emo, post-hardcore, Midwest emo, and then I came across an artist by the name of Lilac Boy, and he made the most weird. Sorry, they made the most weird music that I've ever heard, but in a good way. The song was called Bouncy House Dining Room. Bouncy House Dining Room. And every time, and then when it was so weird and so interesting that I looked at the artists that other, the fans also like, and yeah, the fans also listen to. And then I came across like Alex Unknown, a fantastic independent artist, rapper kind of guy, but that has like very weird experimental stuff to him. There's all these weird artists and slash bands that make music that you wouldn't hear covered by these specific YouTubers unless someone who's a diehard fan is willing to give these people money to listen to this stuff. Because now those music reviewers, they run out of ideas. What do? They live stream and have people pay them money to listen to the music that they like. But my question is, well, what about it? And then if it's music that they don't like, then like you just paid someone to shit on your favorite band. With all of the creators within the alternative music space that review music specifically, a lot of what they like tends to, like, a lot of their picks tend to be the same sometimes, and then there will be some outliers, but then you got to keep in mind that like originally ARTV is like your alternative music review channel. Brad Taste is like indie, etc. Kind of like Anthony Fantano. And then Anthony Fantano will occasionally, harp on albums that, like within mainstream rock bands and talk shit about them, which is like a given and even like that can go for like Rocked, for example. But then there are creators that are willing to listen to more new music, like Brad, as well as Rocked. Rock was interested in checking out the A Job for Cowboys new album, and I think he liked it. I didn't watch the review for that. But at the end of the day, all this rambling and everything, what I have to say is that if you're gonna make a YouTube channel, be authentic. And doesn't matter what content you want to cover. You want to cover exclusively like indie rock, shoegaze, like Dumb Toes, go for it. You want to cover exclusively I don't even like maybe just 2000s like indie rock music. Imagine like Cozy Representative, but exclusively talking about stuff like Gregory and the Hawk, Death Cab for Cutie. I'm thinking of another good thing to drop. What's another good one to drop? Gregory and the Hawk is so good, so good. One of my personal favorite bands is the Main Drag. That's a band that just doesn't get enough attraction, and they were voted one of the best bands of the week in Rock Band 3, Rock Band 2. So like that was wild. Yeah, man, I'm trying to think. Oh, Airborne Toxic Event. Airborne Toxic Event goes into 2010's indie. Silver Sun Pickups. Yeah. Or if you want to just cover exclusively like metal, like Metal Trenches, Metal Tempest, Wyatt X thing, please definitely just try to cover stuff that isn't exclusively mainstream. Talk about the stuff that doesn't get oh shoot, I'm already forgetting the other guy that I want to drop. But yeah, there's a new creator within the specifically like MySpace metal scene that he's like Cozy Representative, but for like the MySpace metal scene. I love his content. He recently opened a Patreon. I respect him. He's also a fellow Canadian. I respect what he does. He also has some really cool merch. Hopefully he'll talk about this band or either Sky Eats Airplane or Pacific Skyline or From Atlantis. Yeah, those are the ones. If he covers those, that'd be sick. But specifically this one. This is the one that deserves the most love. As well as Sky Eats Airplane. Sky Eats Airplane was so underrated and so underappreciated. However, my new favorite electronic core band is Pacific Skyline. Pacific Skyline is so good, man. You need to listen to Pacific Skyline. Some of the best just music to come out of there. And I know a lot of people say like Adestria was great. Adestria is great, but man, I was so into the Pacific Skyline 2009 album, which I found out by TikTok. And that's another thing too. Don't specifically stick with YouTube. You know, a content creator that I really admire, I'd consider to be probably one of my favorite content creators, Crustbag. He originally started off on TikTok, but then he makes these amazing YouTube videos that covers all sorts of things. He's probably one of my biggest inspirations at the moment. Yeah, he definitely also definitely is not exclusively, he doesn't exclusively talk about metal, but he's really he's well known within the metal community, let's just say that. He talks about his music taste, and I feel like at this point, like, are we really going to criticize people's music taste? Unless you're into like coworker music, I don't really think there's room for criticism. Like, come on, like, I listen to artists I would consider him to be an artist. Goes by the name Asian Glow. He collaborated with Paranol. Paranol is known to have like some of the best music considered by like the shoegaze scene. Highly recommend their collaborated efforts together. Like, they made some of the most wild music. Another creator that I also want to mention, also they could also be a band, is Five Pebbles. Five Pebbles has some like most intense, like, I guess they're considered noise rock.
思えばその時の私はまだ何も分かっていなかった。
that really like just blew my mind the first time I heard. I think it's like their first song. They only released one album, and it's just like listening to this music, like there's just so much music for me to talk about. I don't even know like where to end. At this point, we're almost approaching 30 minutes. That's the video. Peace.